Okay, hello again. This is our next lecture in the area of grammar, descriptive grammar. And we're going to talk about categories of constituents. What kinds of units does language consist of? And here we have, so what kinds of constituents does language consist of? And here we have they go by layers. So a phoneme, the individual sound, which is a vowel like a, e, or consonant like n, t. So this is the smallest. Then you have morphemes, which usually consist of a few phonemes, a few sounds. And then you have a word like a noun, a verb, an adjective, conjunction, determiner. And then you have group. You are going to look at two kinds of groups. And then you have a phrase, which you know a phrase is a grammatically complete answer to questions such as what, or do what, or like what. And then you have a clause, which is a complete sentence, simple sentence, and complex sentences, and all this division goes all the way down to discourse, which goes beyond the sentence, which may be a written text, which may be a speech, dialogue, conversation. And this is actually a revision of what we talked about previously. Duality is one of the properties of human language. It says that meaningless phonemes, well, I say meaningless, in this context it means that a phoneme, a sound, such as a consonant or vowel, usually doesn't have meaning assigned to it. So you have a or n, t, e or I, right? So individually these sounds don't mean anything, but if you combine them into an articulatory sequence and tie, then you have a morpheme. So duality is about language functioning on two levels. The first level being that of physical articulation of sound, and this is where meaning doesn't come to the fore yet. So this is the first level, and the second level is combining those physically articulated sounds into meaningful units, such as morphemes or words. And another example, de, no meaning by itself, a, no meaning by itself in English, ge, likewise, but then you can combine it into a word, dog. Okay, now we are going to have a look at some examples of a phoneme which is at the same time a morpheme, because you know that a phoneme is a sound and a morpheme is a unit which carries meaning in the language. So if you have the phoneme e, or in Polish o, which is a preposition, right? Or Polish e, which is a conjunction, or French e, the sound e, which has got a multitude of functions. It may be a conjunction, it may be an inflected form of the verb to be, or some past forms. And a phoneme, one individual sound, may correspond to a word. So, for example, schwa in English is often used as the indefinite article, a dog, a car, a car. So I have a car. In this case, it's phoneme, it's morpheme, and it's word at the same time. So I said before that a sound, a phoneme, usually doesn't have meaning, but sometimes it does, as you can see when it overlaps with a morpheme or with a simple word. And let's keep talking about schwa, the mid-central vowel. In the first case, about, The schwa is just a part of a word. And look at the second one, psychology, schwa. This is not a morpheme because it's just a part of the word, of the discipline psychology, just a phoneme. Or look at beaver. These are the culprits that caused our dikes, riverside dikes, to burst when we had the floods. Beaver. The is not used as a morpheme in this case. The schwa is just a part of the word. And in this case, when you have teacher, teach is a verb, and in this case is a morpheme because it changes the verb teach into the agent, the noun teacher. So in this case, it's got grammatical function, and so you will refer to it as morpheme. We are going to talk a little more about morphemes in a subsequent lecture. And like I have said before, when it is used in English as an indefinite article, this phoneme is at the same time a word. So the last few slides have shown us that a phoneme sometimes may correspond to a morpheme which has a function, or even a word, like the indefinite article in English, or the preposition o in Polish, or the conjunction I in Polish. Yes, so this is a summary of what I have just said. Here you have a list of a few words which consist of just one morpheme. One morpheme because you can't further split the word into smaller, meaningful components. Car, right? Car. You can split car into phonemes which don't bear meaning by themselves, but not into smaller meaning-bearing units. Car, apple, bake, small, have, shall, do, very, and slow. And you've got a multitude of words in English, in other languages, which contain only one morpheme. Okay, and back to the notion of a phoneme, such as p, k, o, I, f. So a phoneme is the smallest articulatory constituent of language, usually doesn't contain meaning, like p in English doesn't have meaning, it doesn't have meaning in English. But of course, if it overlaps with a morpheme, like I have said, the indefinite article of the Polish preposition o, which is used for the locative case. On the other hand, a morpheme is the smallest constituent of language which contains meaning, man, or contains function, like the. So you make the reference definite. That's the function, making your reference definite. Or plural s, so the function would be to change singular noun into plural. Okay, so once again, the difference is between a phoneme. A phoneme usually doesn't carry meaning, and it's one sound in the language. And a morpheme does carry meaning or grammatical function, and it is the smallest meaningful component of language. On the other hand, or on the third hand, a word, what's a word? It's an entry in a dictionary, in your mental lexicon, in your dictionary, which has its independent meaning or grammatical function, syntactic function, grammatical function. So the indefinite and the definite article here, a and the, these are words because you will find them in your dictionary. but they don't so much contribute semantic content as they contribute grammatical function. And then you have a man, policeman. So these are words. Just a moment, my telephone. I need to turn it off. Yeah, okay. So these are words. Some of them carry meaning, some of them carry grammatical function. And here again you have words which only contain one morpheme. You can't further split them up into smaller meaningful units. Stork, go, my, quite. So you will call them monomorphemic. Mono means one, so these words contain only one morpheme, as opposed to just a moment, as opposed to polymorphemic words and forms, which contain more. Poly means many, more morphemes. So he works, my daddy works. Work plus s, two morphemes. Yeah. I was overtaking the truck moving in front of me. Overtaking. So these are polymorphemic words. And the next level is that of group. Nominal group always answers the question what or who. This is the semantic description of the referent. Referent is the thing you are referring to by using a particular group. So big car, it's a nominal group. It's not a complete noun phrase because it's not grammatically complete. You can't say I have big car. Something is missing, the indefinite article. So big car is just the semantics of what you are talking about without the determiner like article to go before it. This is a nominal group. In many cases, the nominal group isn't a complete noun phrase. For example, you can't say this is big car. It's not complete, the nominal group. It was nice lesson. It was a nice lesson. So this nominal group, which consists of adjective and noun, and describes what I am referring to, but it's not grammatically complete. In other cases, the nominal group can be treated as a complete noun phrase. A nominal group may be treated as a complete noun phrase. For example, we like big cars. So the nominal group, the semantic description of the referent, is actually a noun phrase because it's grammatically complete. We like nice lessons. Film stars hardly ever make unique statements. All they say usually is like platitudes. And then verb group. A verb group is the verbs alone. Yeah, verbs alone. The verb group may consist of one verb, went, two verbs, has done, has gone, or three verbs, have been making, or even four verbs, should have been done, should have been going. And the verb group begins with a verb, like has, and ends with a verb. Yeah? And in these contexts, the verb group is not a grammatically complete description of the event, of the action. She has done, yeah, but has done what? Something is missing. So here the verb group is not a complete verb phrase. So once again the distinction, a verb group only contains the verbs, and a verb phrase is a grammatically complete description of the action or of the event or any other statement that you can make about reality. In some other cases, what was she doing when you came into the room? She was sleeping. In this case, the verb group was sleeping. The verb group only contains verbs. Actually, is a complete description of the event or of the ongoing background to what was happening. So the verb group is here a complete verb phrase. And look at the first sentence here. She was sending a letter. Yeah, was sending is a verb group because it only contains verbs, but it's not a complete verb phrase because you can't finish the sentence here after the verb group. What was she doing when you saw her at the crossroads? You can't say just she was sending. So the complement, the object, would be missing. With the object, the verb group consists. The verb group, makes up a complete verb phrase. I was catching fish. They were goading cattle, like into the enclosure. Okay, then clause. You remember clause is a simple sentence. It contains of a noun phrase, which is who or what, like I, my man, all the people. Yeah? The noun phrase is the grammatical subject. And it has the verb phrase, like a description of action or a description of event. So the verb phrase has the function of the predicate. Subject plus predicate make up a clause. And this takes us back to the 6 properties of human language. We have already revised duality. Remember that the physically articulated sounds p, e, t come to constitute meaningful words or morphemes such as pet, dog, car. So that was duality. Now productivity is similar, but it takes you beyond the word level. So you have got, how many words in the language do you know? 5,000, 10,000, 20,000? But however many you may know, it's still a finite set, finite, limited. It's not infinite, it's not boundless. Yeah? And you also, your grammar is also a finite list of rules which you know. But using those finite resources, the 10,000 words which you know, and the 300 grammatical rules which you know, you can actually make an infinite number of sentences, an infinite number. So this is what we mean by language being productivity. Language is generative. You can generate as many sentences as you wish. Okay, the only limitation being our lifespan. And we already know the parts of speech, and the verbs which carry content. Content is a fraction of reality which is extrinsic to language. It may say who, my mother, what, this house. Then you have lexical verbs, do what, study, write, be what, like to be, to exist, have what, like to own, to possess, right? And adjectives answer the question like what, and common adverbs how, slowly, where, here, when, tomorrow. So these are the lexical categories, the content words, as opposed to grammatical or function words. You have a list here, which is not so much part of your vocabulary, it's rather part of your grammatical competence. So these here, again, lexical categories, these are part of your lexical knowledge, of your vocabulary knowledge. And here, the function words are more part of your grammatical competence, grammatical knowledge. And content words have denotation. Denotation is the semantic content, or simply put, the meaning, right? So this is what content words have. And they have lexical meaning. Yeah? They name things from the exterior reality. But function words serve for syntactic organization. I have done it. Have, auxiliary verb, it doesn't have any lexical meaning. It's there to help you create a construction in the present perfect. So if you look at this sentence, the house which my wife has chosen is more comfortable than the one you showed me. In this sentence you have content words such as house, such as wife, such as choose, chose, comfortable, like what, and showed. And you have function words which will just help you build the sentence, like the definite article here, or the relative pronoun, or the possessive determiner my, or the auxiliary verb has, and so on and so forth. Okay, back to content words. A noun is a word, lexical category, and it, like you know, answers the question who or what, a car. A noun phrase is a syntactic category. That means that it's a part of a sentence. It may have a determiner, like the indefinite article a car. It may have indefinite article or another determiner, like this. Then you have nice, which is an adjective, and car, which is a noun. So these are noun phrases. And sometimes just one noun, which is a lexical category, makes up a complete noun phrase. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius at 0 altitude. So what boils? Water boils. This is a complete answer. So you see that you may have noun phrases which consist of just one word. It may be an uncountable noun, water. It may be a common noun, people. It may be a proper noun, John. It may be a pronoun, he. But in other cases, one noun doesn't constitute a complete noun phrase. Like thing, yeah, a person, a problem. You may say, I have a problem. You can't say, I have problem. So in this case, the individual noun, which is lexical category, isn't a complete noun phrase. Very often a noun phrase consists of determiner, a, an, this, your, our. So a is indefinite article, this is demonstrative determiner, your possessive determiner, and our possessive determiner. So these noun phrases consist of determiner plus noun. This is a typical structure of a noun phrase. And more complex noun phrase, you may have determiner, a, an, these, our, and then you have adjective, nice, awful, honest, wise, old, and then you have noun, girl, story, person. So these are more complex noun phrases. And now let's talk about verb phrases. Quite often a verb phrase may consist of one individual verb. What does she do for a living? She just works. She works. Why didn't they come to class? They overslept. Yeah. So it is a grammatically complete description of the event or action, like works. And In other cases, a verb phrase may consist of auxiliary verb, is, and lexical verb, sleeping, which is a participle. In this case, progressive participle. I have recovered. I have had the post-covidal complications. It's terrible, but I am recovering. I hope. So have is auxiliary verb and recovered is the lexical verb. In this case, you have verb phrases consisting of auxiliary plus lexical, and they are also to be treated as verb groups because they just contain verbs. And you may have auxiliary, have, auxiliary, been, or been. All young people now say been. I say been, the British traditional pronunciation. Have been, and the lexical talking. The men are being trained. Auxiliary are, auxiliary being, and passive participle trained. In other cases, the verb or verb group, like look here, the boy is telling, that's a verb group because it consists of verbs, and this verb group isn't grammatically a complete answer to the question do what, so it needs complements. His friends is one object and a joke is another object. These are necessary, those complements. Okay. I deem means the same as consider. Yeah. I deem your statement irrelevant. So I can't say, you can't say I deem your statement or I find your statement. It would be incorrect. So the other complement, irrelevant, is also necessary. So complement is grammatically necessary. It's syntactically anticipated. And there is a question at the bottom, what will you call the above complements? So the first one, a shark. It's a complement because it's necessary for the sentence. This is an object. Then it's she is very tired. Very tired describes the subject she. So the phrase which describes the subject is called subject predicative. Subject predicative. The boy is telling his friends a joke. These two are objects. His friends is object, indirect object, and a joke is direct object. Why do I call them objects? Because you remember, an object can be moved to the front if you change the sentence into the passive voice. So you will say a joke is being told, or his friends are being told a joke. The next sentence is, I deem, I find, I consider your statement irrelevant. So your statement, what kind of complement is it? It's an object because you can move it to the front. Your statement is deemed irrelevant. Yeah? So this is object, your statement. And this one, irrelevant, this describes the object. What is irrelevant? The object, your statement. So irrelevant would be object predicative. Object predicative. And look here, he is going to the garden. To the garden is a prepositional phrase because it consists of preposition to and the noun phrase the garden. Yeah? So it's prepositional complement. You will often have a verb phrase which has auxiliary verb plus lexical verb, like you have seen. Have, auxiliary, been, auxiliary, talking, or your pronunciation have been talking. Yeah. So these are verb phrases, and then we would have, look at this word, adjunct. Adjunct is an additional, optional piece of information in the verb phrase. What's she doing? She is sleeping, period. You can put the dot here after is sleeping. So it's a grammatically complete verb phrase. You can add, she is sleeping right now. And right now, optional, additional, isn't grammatically required information about the verb phrase. So this is called adjunct. Please observe again that compliment, a shark, very tired. Complement is grammatically required. You can't just say she saw, period. Yeah? But you can say my child was swimming, period. Yeah? So in the river isn't necessary. It's not a compliment because compliments are necessary. This one is optional. You will call it adjunct. And more complex verb phrases. She is the subject, so it's not part of the verb phrase. The verb phrase, please remember, begins with the first verb, okay, and it ends where you finish or can finish the sentence. So is writing is the verb group because it only contains verbs. A letter is noun phrase because it's what? A letter. What is the function of this noun phrase? It's object. Object. Because you can move it to the front. A letter is being written in her room. So this is object. And in her room, preposition in plus noun phrase, her room. So in her room is a prepositional phrase which is not grammatically necessary for the sentence. That would be adjunct. So once again, subject, she, verb group is writing, object, a letter. Object is a kind of complement. When I say complement, it's a more general word. Complement means you should use it. You should use it, yeah? And object is a kind of complement, is a kind of necessary component of a verb phrase. What is she like? Nice. Like what? Nice. So nice is a grammatically a complete answer to the question like what. So this one adjective is at the same time an adjective phrase. In other cases, what is she like? Very nice. The adjective phrase consists of adverb, very. How nice? Very nice. So this is a degree adverb. And nice is the head in the phrase. It is the adjective. Okay. And then you have adverb phrase. How does she work? She works well. Simple adverb phrase. Well, early, fast. An adverb phrase may consist of two words. Very, fast. How does she drive? Very fast. So very is the degree adverb and fast is the common adverb, which is the head in the adverb phrase very fast. Okay, we like talking to whom? To wise people. We like talking to wise people. It is a nominal group because it says who, right? And people is the head, the more important part. of the nominal group. And wise is just additional information. It's not necessary. You can say we like talking to wise people, or we like talking to people. Wise isn't necessary. So the modifier is optional and the head is necessary. What is she like? She is very nice. She is nice. So the modifier very isn't necessary, just like adjunct in a verb phrase. How does she write? How does she read? Very slowly. How does she read? Slowly. So again, the modifier very. The degree adverb isn't necessary, but the head, the common adverb slowly, is necessary. This is a smart guy, right? A smart guy. A smart guy. It is a noun phrase, and this noun phrase consists of determiner a plus nominal group smart guy. And the noun guy is necessary, it's the head, and the modifier smart, the adjective, isn't necessary. Right? This is a guy, this is a man. Yeah? She is pretty, she's very pretty, she's pretty. Okay, so we have said this. So modifier is optional. This is a boy. This is a smart boy. This is a boy. She is very pretty. She's pretty. She's very pretty. This is optional. You work slowly. You work quite slowly. You work slowly, quite. The modifier isn't necessary. And then you have something new. A coordinate phrase consists of two heads of the same status, husband and wife. Sink or swim. You take your child to the middle of the lake in a boat, then you throw him overboard and you say sink or swim. This is a drastic way to teach somebody and to be motivated to swim, to learn to swim. So these are independent. You can sink or you can swim. You can say swim or you can say sink if you're being naughty. The people are rich but stupid. So these two are independent of each other. You can use one without the other. You can say they are rich, or you can say they are stupid. So you can use one independently of the other. It's a coordinate phrase. And the last thing is a node. Node. What is a node? I will best show it to you by showing the next picture. So, old, adjective, man, noun, and they come to form a node which would be named nominal group. And the nominal group plus the determiner, they would come to make the noun phrase. So these are nodes, the points in syntactic structure which join two more detailed components. His son, what do you call this node? Noun phrase. A nice story, noun phrase. Has told, verb group. Has told his son a nice story, verb phrase. And the whole thing will be called sentence node or close node. Okay, so this is as far as we go today, and you may want to have questions. You can write the questions in the comments underneath. You may want to like the video if you do like it. And until the next time, bye bye.